Alright everybody, what is up? My name is Nathan Sample, and this is my first sort of vlog video of this kind. I plan on doing more like this. I have an idea for kind of a news show, and I prepared some equipment to do stuff like this right here, and also to do some outdoor videos. I've got a microphone I want to use outdoors, and some stuff like that, but I'm gonna have to test it at some point. I want to talk about a subject that is a little nuanced, but I think it matters, and that is rules for what you choose to use in the world of technology. My generation has always been kind of bad at taking jokes and having rational discussions. I acknowledge that, but I noticed at a certain point when I was a kid that there was just this turning point where it felt like people went from being a little bit too sensitive to like, don't ever disagree with me on anything ever again. Don't you ever joke about me ever again. And you know what it was? It's when these came out right here. Phones. People weren't designed. They were not designed to get a constant feed of information. That's why the 24-hour news cycle in general is a bad thing. And that's why I want to talk about is the phone itself is not a problem, but back in the early 2000s and the 90s, I'm pointing over here because my computer's right there, you used to have to opt into the internet. The internet was a box that sat in the corner of your room. And so you had to choose to use the internet. And I was thinking over some things because I've struggled with my social media presence a lot over the years when it comes to streaming, and I sat down and I automated my whole Twitter feed, which means anytime I post on Odyssey, it goes on Twitter. Anytime I go live on Twitch, it goes on Twitter. Anytime I post a blog post on my website, it goes on Twitter. And I noticed that after doing that, I was like, oh, I don't even have to bother with this site anymore. What a relief. I learned that I don't like using social media very much because it forces you to care about other people's opinions. That's really the big thing. You get a constant feed of news and a constant feed of opinions, and when you're on a phone at least, you're getting those notifications over and over and over again. You will be in the middle of dinner and get bing! You look at your phone and you're like, oh, this person called me an asshole. Cool. And that's why I think people in my generation were overly sensitive, because they received that feed constantly hearing what everyone else thought, constantly seeing the news. And the root of these issues is, like I said, you used to have to opt into this, but on top of that, it's just the 24-hour news cycle and the fact that people weren't designed to communicate with thousands of people in a direct, exact manner all the time. That's why when people are streaming on Twitch, and their chat is of a certain size, they have to learn how to manage it. They have to read donations, or they have to put into sub-only mode or follow-only mode. Because you can't communicate with 700 people at once, and the human brain wasn't designed to receive this constant 24/7 feed of news. It is not good for you. Back in the day, our parents used to get maybe a feed of 30 minutes of news a day, maybe an hour of news a day. Maybe they'd read the paper. I've heard people say, oh, ignorance is bliss. You need to watch and read everything. What am I going to do about things that aren't happening in my hometown? What am I going to do about things that are happening outside of America? What am I going to do about some decision the president makes? Answer, nothing. That's why you read your local news, your local paper, and you watch the weather. And maybe if you're lucky, you look at a feed from, an RSS feed from, Fox or CNN every once in a while. That's the most reasonable way to do it. I personally have sat down and I've gone through my phone and I've removed all the social media apps completely, including YouTube. I'm trying not to support YouTube because despite me not liking some of the recent announcements that the Odyssey team has made, it's still a much more open and free platform than YouTube is, and also Pure Library is open. And so I think that that's a much better choice. And after doing this, I sat down and I made a list. This is really the meat and potatoes of this video, despite it probably being a quick thing to run through. I made a list of all the things that, the criteria that I have chosen for what technologies and what social medias and what websites I will use in the future. I notice a lot of people are like, oh, I use Twitter because my friends use Twitter. Oh, I use Facebook because my friends use Facebook. How am I going to talk to my friends if I don't have Facebook? This has a number connected to it. You can call them. You can text them. It's not that hard. It has never been that hard. If your friends won't text you, they're assholes, okay? I just wanted to say that. They don't want to talk to you. So anyways, this is my list of these things. Starting off with, is this thing necessary? Now, something on this list doesn't have to meet every single one of these criteria. I understand it's not always going to, and very few things will. But is something absolutely necessary? Do you need, for example, to use Facebook? Is that something that you need for work? Okay, then use it. Is it something that is required to run your business or to run your life? Do you actually need it or not? I think that that's an important question to ask. The next question is it easy or is it worth it? Because there are always other solutions for a problem. Some of them, for example, are writing things on paper as opposed to using a text editor. Some are less technological. You know, I tried to write my notes for this on my computer, and then I realized that it wasn't going to work out because I don't have a printer, so I'd be peering off way over here at my computer monitor. So sometimes the solution is not technology. And sometimes if it is technology, it's not the thing that everyone else is using. Is Zoom really the best video call program? No, it's not. It's just what everyone chose to use. Is Discord the best, I guess, chat room client? That's basically all it is. No, probably not. In fact, Guilded has better features. I actually use that because I enjoy it regardless, and I've got a pre-existing community on there, but still, it's an important question to ask. So is it easy and is it worth it? If something's easy and it makes your life better, there's always a trade-off with any technology. You know, if I sit here and I film with a digital camera, that's not going to look as good as if I were to film on some massive film camera. But it's easier. It has a benefit to me, and it's worth it. I know that's a weird way to put it, but that's how I see it. This is one that I've really struggled with over the years. Will this thing last? Is it a fad that will die? TikTok. That's why I'm not on TikTok, okay? There's a lot of things that people hop on real quick because their friends are on it. And it's like, screw your friends. That thing's not going to last. Long-form videos and podcasts and things like that, forms of media that have some meat and potatoes to them, I believe those will last. But no, your shitty website where you lip sync to music ain't going to last. I'm sorry. And is it a passing fad or is it sustainable as well? Like, I don't believe that all these video streaming websites are this insanely sustainable thing that's going to last forever. And I don't mean Odyssey and YouTube and Twitch, though there is debate to be had about that. I mean Netflix. I mean Hulu. The fact that every company in the world is trying to make their own streaming platform, to me, shows that it's not going to last. There may be 2 or 3 that survive the streaming wars, but it's similar to how there was, like, 15 game consoles in the early 80s, I think. You know, when the Intellivision, that was early 80s. Intellivision, ColecoVision, Atari 5200, Atari 7800, all of those things. When you flood a market with a million options, consumers are like, oh, screw that. I'm not worried about that. So is it a sustainable business? Will it last? That's an important thing, because you don't want to invest yourself in a website or in a technology or in a thing just to have it die off. You don't want to sit there and invest money in the future, because everyone's obsessed with being on the right side of history, which isn't determined by what's happening now. It's determined on the way people view it in the future. And they're also obsessed with being on top of things, being ahead of the curve. And it's like, just use what works for you, okay? Does it benefit me in any way? I think I've already mentioned that. But yeah, for example, I stream on Twitch. It's fun for me. It benefits me. It's not necessary, but I think it'll last. I think it's a good website to use. And if it doesn't last, I had fun. And I make a little bit off of subscriptions on there. Odysee/Library. It's a much more censorship-resistant platform. It has a lot more lastability. You can upload blogs, you can upload audio podcasts, you can upload videos. Even if I never gain a following on this website, guess what? I still am happy using it, because it can serve as an archive. I can just open Library Desktop and download my own videos, and other people can do the same thing. So if a video of mine ever went down, other people could say, oh, I've got a copy of that. So for just archival purposes alone, that's why I believe in that platform. And yeah, I think that's pretty much my list right there. Hopefully this video spells out what I'm trying to say well. This is my first of this kind, so forgive me. I know it's probably going to be a little bit awkward, but I think that this needs to be said. I'm not using most social media on my phone anymore, and I'm trying to avoid using Twitter. I think that you need to have some criteria, some objective criteria for how you choose to use social media, how you choose to use technology. Computers and the internet used to be opt-in, but now they're this thing where you have to basically use the internet, or you must use it on your phone, or you must this, you must that. Look for what benefits you, what is fun, what is easy, what is worth it, and what will last. Don't invest yourself in something that's a dying fad. And if you do invest yourself in something that you think is just a fad, make sure it's all of those other things, that it's enjoyable and beneficial. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember to follow and enable the notification bell, and I will see you all in the next one. Thank you.